If I open a social media app and see one more book to screen adaptation, I think I'm going to scream. Welcome to the Simply Jamilah podcast. Hi, my name is Jamilah. If you are new or not new and we're just simply curious, I don't know. It's been some time and I still don't know how to open this podcast or say a proper greeting. And apparently, I still don't know how to hang up the phone either. We established that right before I started recording this. So I'm just going to say hi. Happy to be here. I was going to say happy to see you, but I literally can't see you. So just happy to be in your ear, I guess, one more time. I am so ready to rant about this subject because it's been sitting with me for so long and I'm at the point of near explosion. But before I talk about book adaptations, I have some good news to share, I think. I don't know. I have a vibe. I have a good vibe to share. So normally this is when I would share my weekly win, and I feel like just all of last week was a win. And I'm not talking about for me personally because I'm like suddenly a year older and woke up feeling different and blah, blah, blah. I feel like as a nation, as America stands as a country, I think last week was a good week. There was the big grand opening of the Obama Presidential Center in Chicago, which had a star-studded, I was going to say cast, and that's so not correct, but there were tons of supportive people there and stars, celebrities, all of them, whether they were performing or whether they were just simply there to be in the audience for the opening ceremony. Michelle said an amazing speech that brought Barack to tears. Sasha looks amazing and fierce. Malia still still very beautiful, gorgeous, just a great looking family. It's now open. They opened it around Juneteenth time, which, I mean, that's a whole nother great thing. Juneteenth, it felt like it was a weekend long celebration, and as a Black person, I'm totally here for it and I love it. And I love the fact that on at least Threads for sure, I just saw a lot of like education regarding Juneteenth. That was amazing. And like where I am, my local community, there was a little celebration, and I had a conversation with someone who actually ended up speaking like a spoken word poem. But I learned even from her just like the little traditions associated with Juneteenth. Like it's always good to drink a red drink on the holiday, and I need to do my own research and figure out why. I just kind of took her word for it and drank something that definitely had my head going a little bit once I like gulped it down, because I for sure gulped it down, but it was really good. I don't know what it was. I could not tell you a single version, piece, whatever. Not piece, not version. I could not tell you a single ounce type whatever of the liquor that was in that drink. All I know is that I could not taste it and it was good, and it had me feeling some type of way afterwards. But anyway, I think just the overall Juneteenth celebration last week was just fantastic, and there was more energy surrounding that than June 14th, which is fantastic. And then of course on the same day as the big opening of the Obama Presidential Center, there was the New York Knicks parade, and I just feel like the city showed up, showed out. Unity was just amazing. I feel like if celebrities weren't at the Obama Center opening, then they were at the Knicks parade, and honestly, either one is great because you get to be in the presence of one of the greatest mayors I think this country has ever seen. So just overall good vibes. And then on top of that, I mean, the World Cup is happening, and I do think it's absolutely disgusting as far as the referee who was like not rejected. Rejected is not the right word, but basically was like sent back. Like he wasn't allowed to enter the country. My brain, I just need to tell you right now, because I feel like I've already sounded like I can't speak English well. My brain is gone in the swimming pool with the chlorine. Okay. I'm recording this on one of the days that I have to work the summer camp that I've been doing this summer. And I was praying that I didn't have to go to the pool with the kids, and I ended up having to go to the pool with the kids. And then I was praying that I didn't have to get in the water with the kids, and I ended up having to get in the water with the kids. And they just were obsessed with the fact that I was not wearing a bathing suit and that I was wearing a t-shirt and shorts, and kept trying to splash and soak my t-shirt. And I think the chlorine got in my ears and washed away in the spit, disgusting, infested water of the swimming pool. I've already showered. I am going to take another one because I am utterly disturbed. The way they were actively talking to me and spitting in the water at the same time, I cannot handle it. But anyway, Just want to throw that warning out there because I've already just messed up my words as far as talking about the World Cup, but I just feel like the World Cup, I know there's a lot of apprehension about it happening in this country because of like the government, but I feel like if last week showed us anything, it showed us that there's hope in this country amongst the people. There is definitely unity and there's potential for unity. There's people who simply want better. And it's evident in just all of last week. And I think people are kind of like, seeing it and showing it in the World Cup that we are just simply here. We are not I'm not going to say leaders. I was going to say leaders, and that was going to be completely wrong because our current government, there is not a leader in sight, to be completely honest. Now, I will say, there are some people in Congress who are absolutely leaders. I'm looking at you, Jasmine, AOC. Like, there are some great leaders in Congress, but overall, no. The orange is not a representation of this country, and I feel like last week really, really showed that. So just overall, I consider that a weekly win. As a reader, I feel like I have a lot to say about book adaptations, and you may or may not like what I have to say, but listen, I just need to get it off my chest, really. So this is just me ranting as if you are my best friend and you care. That's really all this is. At first, like, if we're just looking at the past few years, obviously, 2020 happened, there wasn't really much going on, but not counting that situation. At first, it seemed like Hollywood just overall originality disappeared, right? It just feels like there was nothing great creative coming out of Hollywood. Maybe once every blue moon with like Get Out, Moonlight, possibly. I think like there was just a few little sporadically placed original works coming out. Not counting those like few, overall, it just seemed like Hollywood lacked originality. And it felt like that because of all like the reboots and like the sequels that have been happening and like the remakes of classics. And when I say classics, I'm talking about, and I will forever be pissed off about this until it comes out. And then when it comes out, I'm probably going to end up hate watching it. It's going to happen because why in the world is Netflix doing 13 going on 30? I'm still upset about it. I genuinely love Emily Bader. I really do. But why? And I know she's going to do good in the role, but who asked for it? And whoever asked for it, can we have a discussion? Because it's so incredibly unnecessary. So like that kind of thing. Why are we remaking classics? Why do we need a reboot of these shows? And I'm not hating on it because I actually liked the Devil Wears Prada 2. I think they did a really good job of bringing both like the early 2000s and current stuff together, minus the random little, let's throw in people who are like famous on TikTok and social media, minus that little part of it. I actually liked it. But also, why? Why did we need a second one? Do you know what I mean? I love the Easter eggs. I love all the things, but why? I know we're trying to really like give Anne Hathaway all the money. She's going to have an incredible year with like, I think it's 5 movies coming out. Like I get that. But it just overall is showing a lack of originality with those 3 things: the reboots, classics, remakes, and then the sequels. However, now it feels like there's no originality because of all of the books being adapted for the screen, especially streaming services. I feel like a lot of them are being adapted for like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Peacock. I am still so like, I don't think you understand the level of upset that I have about, I think it's Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan being adapted as a TV show for Peacock. Like, don't hurt my feelings, bro. Because I'm not buying Peacock just to watch that. Peacock, I think, is one of the greater ripoffs when it comes to streaming services. I'm sorry. I said it. I did say it because I'm not paying, what is it, $10.99, $12.99 a month to watch Love Island. I'm not doing that. That is absolutely insane. But like, you have a simple plan, but there's nothing for that simple plan. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of Peacock. I'm a Peacock hater. It is what it is. And though I said a lot of them are like going to streaming services, I think Beach Read is expected to hit theaters, if I remember that correctly, from the singular sneak peek photo that was shared about that adaptation, which I normally don't agree with I normally am silent when people are upset about a casting choice. However, unless I have to see, like, I have to see an actual visual of the acting and the chemistry, because right now it ain't looking too good as far as casting goes. I think Phoebe was great for January. Not sure about our casting for Augustus. It's just not, the energy is just not there. But I'm also not going to be someone that, like, you know, becomes a D1 hater about who they chose to be Augustus. Like, that's so unnecessary. I just have to see the chemistry to believe it. That one singular photo did not sell me, like, at all, and he did not look the way that I feel like Gus is described in the book. I feel like if you're going to do an adaptation, and I mean, like, cool, do an adaptation, but I feel like the characters, in some way, shape, or form, especially the main characters, can, like, semi look like who they're portraying, or at least just match the overall personality or vibe. I have one particular adaptation I'm thinking about where, like, it was completely changed, but it makes sense. But I mean, even like Bridgerton. I mean, Bridgerton, you know, there's all sorts of ethnicities that are present in that show, but like the characters are, they still match the vibe. With the singular picture that has been released as far as Beach Read goes, I'm just not getting that from our main man. Like, I'm just not getting the energy that Augustus has. I'm not getting that poetic verbiage that I just feel like he has. I don't know. I need to be super, super sold on that one to see it in theaters, to be honest. And Beach Read is my second favorite Emily Henry book. Nope, that's a lie. Funny story did take that place. Beach Read is my third favorite Emily Henry book. What really broke me and made me decide, like, I have to talk about this is Netflix announcing that they are doing an Icebreaker adaptation. Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. Oh. There is no way. There is no way. Netflix has been receiving some. Honestly, I feel like it's been necessary because Netflix had a bad spell there for a second, especially with the way Stranger Things ended. It was like this whole big deal. And then we get the final season of Stranger Things and it's kind of like hot garbage. Netflix needed a win. And so they've been receiving some praise recently for rom-coms being back and then bringing rom-coms back, especially with the release of People We Meet on Vacation, which was okay. Office Romance, which the more that I think about that movie, the more I'm like, that was not a vibe, like, at all. And I hope to never watch it again. I have no reason to watch it again. It just was not it. I think Jennifer Lopez needs to try acting in different roles now. Like, I think she's kind of past her rom-com prime, if you know what I mean. And then, of course, Voicemails for Isabel, which, if you want to talk about bringing rom-coms back, that brings rom-coms back in a way of, like, grief being the big kind of emotion that we're experiencing. Like, I mean, we're not experiencing it. Like, she's falling in love, but then grief is just right there, and you were just going on this emotional journey. I could not say her last name, so I'm just going to say Zoe. Zoe does a really good job. Respectfully, I think Zoe is our new, like, rom-com queen. Like, I think Jennifer Lopez can chill out a little bit. She can go, you know, retire, go on vacation, focus on, I don't know, trying to make good new music maybe. But I think Zoe, like, her time has come, because a lot of people, and I really agree with them, the last, like, great original Netflix rom-com for sure was Set It Up, and Zoe was our female lead in that one too. So I agree with the peoples on that. But all of these movies, People Who Meet on Vacation, Office Romance, and Voicemails for Isabel, released this year on Netflix. So, like, they've been getting some great praise for those movies. Again, Office Romance, I don't get it. However, I just feel like, to not ruin their reputation and to not diminish the praise they've been getting, they have to adapt the heck out of Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. Because if not, babe, what are we watching? We're watching the first part of the show, series, movie, whatever it's going to be. The first part's going to be sex, and then the second part is going to be a half-decent, mediocre at best, like, ice situation. Like, there's no real plot to that book, or at least, I think I said in a video that the plot is, like, the second part of the book, and the first part is just straight sex. Like, they need to adapt the actual heck out of that book, because I love, not to sound insane, but you know what? My future husband needs to hear this anyway. I don't mind. I have no qualms against reading sex scenes, steamy scenes, spicy scenes, smut, whatever you call it. I literally have an erotic fiction book sitting on my dining room table waiting for me to read it, okay? I have nothing against it. If it's well written, I enjoy it. And if it doesn't make me uncomfortable, then I definitely enjoy it. Brother, Icebreaker made me so uncomfortable. I was like, I can't. I literally can't do this. So for Netflix to, I need Netflix to kind of like lock it on this adaptation and make it amazing. Because when they announced that, I was like, we have to stop. We have got to stop with the adaptations. I will say, when it comes to adaptations, and like I said, Netflix gotta adapt the heck out of Icebreaker. There needs to be something like understood. Hollywood's version of the book is never going to be exactly like the book. It's never going to be verbatim. And I am waiting on the general public to realize that. Like, after something is done or adapted, I, get on whatever social media platform and people are like hating because this got left out and that got left out and this is a major plot point, da 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 da. But like, it's okay because it's never going to be just like the book. That is honestly like the greatest lesson I heard at a BookCon panel. It was a panel that was literally called, I think, Book to Screen. And it had Andy Weir, Robin Lee, and two other women whose name I could never remember. And there is no hate to them. I just genuinely cannot remember their names. But like they kept saying it. They like really tried to reiterate the fact that it's never going to be the exact same. And I think, every author has kind of a different role when it comes to the adaptation, because I want to say it was Robin Lee who said she had nothing to do with the idea of You adaptation. Like, from my understanding, if I remember correctly, she was on the other side of the world when they were like filming it. Like, she genuinely had nothing to do with the way that Hollywood adapted her book. On the flip side, Andy Weir was a producer on Project Hail Mary. So an author's involvement as far as, this adaptation, it varies based off of the project and whatever, I guess, the author decides. So we can't be mad at the author either because the whatever's on the screen is not correct in aligning 100% with the book, because it's never going to align 100%. It doesn't matter if the author is a producer on the project. Hollywood is going to do what Hollywood does, and it's going to make some changes. It's going to make some alterations, and that's just literally a part of it. Learning about that and hearing about that in this panel kind of allowed me to watch adaptations less critically, which is another thing that I kind of just really want to talk about when it comes to book adaptations. Like, yes, I am pissed to high heaven about Icebreaker being adapted, and I'm upset that there are just so many book adaptations happening, but I am watching them with way less of a critical eye. I'm trying to get better at reading with like less of a critical eye and just kind of vibe. There was a girl, I was in a wedding, she was a bridesmaid. She's a very big reader. Reads eons more than I do a year. And she just calls them like fun, silly little books and fun, silly little reads. And I love that because she's just simply enjoying them. I don't know what part of me is just like, I have to like read this and I have to make sure that I understand every word and I have to make sure that every single word is like used correctly. I don't know if that's just like the nerd in me, the valedictorian in me. I don't know what part of me that is, but I just know that is how I operate, and I'm trying to get better as far as like reading less critically. But I will say that I'm definitely better at watching adaptations less critically. I just wish that there wasn't so many of them. And I think that's the thing, is like, where is the originality in Hollywood? Why do we need so many adaptations? Please, someone tell me. I was going to say it's the same as separating the artist from the music. It's definitely not the same. But the book obviously came first. And so you kind of have to separate what you know from the book to what Hollywood may interpret or decide to use in the movie, especially if the book is older. Sometimes some of these adaptations are from books that, might have been the author's first work or maybe like a while ago. From my understanding, I want to say Windy City is Liz Tomford's first like book series, first book period. I think Mile High is like her first book, and then the series is obviously like her first series. So I'm sure like that first book, whenever it came out, is completely different from how she writes now and what she thinks now and da-da-da-da. Maybe not completely different from what she thinks, but it's been a minute as far as since she wrote that. And it might be, Hollywood might be like, okay, let's just kind of bring it up to speed a little bit more. I don't know. We don't know. Nobody knows for sure, of course, but you have to like think about the age of the book. Like I just saw Lucy Score's Things We Never Got Over is being adapted. I don't know how old that book is, but I know that series is a little up there in age. Okay. So when the adaptation comes out and it's not the same as the book, we have to remember that it's been a while since she wrote that book. Sometimes you just have to learn how to separate the book version from the screen version, especially if it's not a recent book. I mean, I can't tell you how old Beach Read is, and I really don't remember. I actually have no idea. And same with People We Meet on Vacation. I feel like it's been years since I read that, and it more than likely has. I feel like me and my friend read that in like 2020. We had like our whole Emily Henry stink in like 2020, 2021. Also, stink is not the right word. I think it's shtick. But anyway, we had that like 6, 7. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I did that. I did do that. That's annoying. Because why is that even still a thing? Why are kids coming up to me saying 6, 7? But anyway, it's been like 5 or 6 years since we read all of her books, and a lot has changed even in that time. We're sure we're in the same decade that we've read the books, but People Meet on Vacation was probably written before 2020. The Hollywood version is going to be just a little bit more up to date and a little bit more current to what is happening. And that's going to make it different from the book version. So we have to learn how to mentally separate them. Because I am the nerd that I am, I did look up the definition of adaptation because I think maybe that will help too with people kind of calming down about the level of like negativity and aggression that they feel towards, an adaptation that just doesn't do anything. That doesn't do the book justice, not anything, but doesn't do the book justice. So Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the definition of adaptation, something that is adapted. I know, amazing, like mind-boggling, world, life, everything changing. I get it. No. So then I looked up adapted. Adapted from the same dictionary, to make fit, in parentheses, as for a new use, close parentheses, often by modification. So if we take away the parentheses, adapted, to make fit, often by modification. Modification. Modification means to modify. Modify means to change. We have to change. We are going to make this work by making changes. That is an adaptation. So you cannot, be upset when the film or television version is not 100% like the book because it's an adaptation. We cannot expect 100%. We cannot expect it follows every single page of the book. We can't expect that when our favorite book is going to film or television. Now, we understand the definition of adaptation. We understand that we have to separate the film and the book version in our brains. Like, we get that. I will say there is a good and a bad way to do an adaptation, okay? Because the bad way is every year after. It 100% is. Now, I am going to sound so crazy when I say this, and I hope it's not illegal. I don't know how old he is, so that could be even worse. I love Matt Cornett. I do. I have loved that man since watching High School Musical, the musical, the series. I love him. He is a beautiful man, a beautiful specimen of a man, but it's not happening in this show. It's just not. And I understand he was doing his job. He was acting. I don't think it just wasn't hitting. I don't know if it was the script, the directing. I don't know what it was, but I love him. But overall, from everyone, there was just something so incredibly off about it. They, of course, changed the storyline, but as we established, adaptation is something that is adapted to make fit, often by modification. I guess to make it work for their vision, they were like, hey, let's change the storyline. And I think from my understanding, their vision was, how are we going to make this stretch and be amazing and fit over the course of, I want to say it was slated for 5 seasons. Like, I'm thinking that was the thought process, right? Like, what changes have to be made in order for this to last 5 seasons? Beyond the change of the storyline, babes, why did they put a wig on this woman? Why did they put a wig on her? That wig was so bad. It was so bad. I'm sorry. It was so obvious. There were moments where it just looked like a sharp change in her hairline. It was just not, there was nothing that was like smooth in transition. It was just so bad. I was like, I can't. There were some scenes I couldn't watch because the wig was not, it was not wigging, okay? It was not doing what needed to be done to make her look good. But overall, I just feel like it was not it. There was a lot of people that were let down with the adaptation, and I completely get it. The thing with Every Summer After Carly Fortune, like the book by Carly Fortune, is that it really paints a scene, and there's so much detail in the book that you just feel the emotion and you feel the yearning and the longing, the regret, all, you just feel it all. When you watch the show, you feel nothing. You know that Dua Lipa meme that everyone just loves to bring up, especially now that she's married? Go girl, give us nothing. That's exactly what Every Year After did. They saw the meme and they were like, okay, bet. Now, a good way to do an adaptation, you know what I'm going to say, Off Campus. I just finished the book. And truthfully, I like the show more than I like the book. The book's not bad by any means, but from my understanding, that book is like a decade old, which again, you know, the film version is going to probably reflect times now a little bit more versus the book version, which may be a little older. And that's exactly the case with this, but also just the writer has matured and all of that jazz. Off Campus did a really, really good job of keeping the bones of the story. Like, there was a lot in the story that I recognized from when I skimmed through the show. I am going to tonight, actually. I'm going to start fully watching the show and binging it like all the girls. And I'm very excited about it. I mean, like, they kept, I don't know if you've watched, read, or anything with Off Campus. This is kind of a spoiler, but they kept like Logan kind of having a crush on Hannah. Like, they kept that in. They kept like the locker scene in when she goes after Garrett for the like hands-off rule, but they changed that a little bit, you know, because in the book Garrett's like, yeah, like I made that rule because I'm calling your bluff on why we broke up, whereas in the show the breakup and all of that is different. So they changed like that plot point as far as the story goes, like why they broke up. They completely left out the part where like Hannah is irritated with some guy named Cass. They kind of changed up just Hannah's overall journey in her major and like her singing journey, which it's fine. I like the way that it is on the show. It's a little bit smoother. It would have been interesting to see her kind of get dumped like via duet or whatever that situation was. That would have been very interesting. But I like the way that we go on the journey with her writing an original song. It makes everything better. And I like the fact, because I feel like at the end when she sings her big song, it just showcases her journey through life, especially after what she experiences. And that's kind of their way of showing Hannah's character development, especially like through her relationship. Like, she developed and grew a lot in her relationship with Garrett, and you know, afterwards, after they break up, like that makes sense. It's very necessary. And there's even like minor details that they keep in the show, like Hannah making lasagna. Yes, it's like a whole kind of chapter situation, and the guys like actively eat lasagna and praise her in the book, but like on the show there's a little clip of her with like 6 or 7 pans of lasagna, and the guys are like standing around her in the kitchen. There's minor details like that they kept in, but they kept the bones of it as well, and it's just so well done. That is how you set up a story to kind of to give the same vibe and the same energy as the book, but also you set it up to where you can seasons, you know, you can keep going with it. Now, Every Year After did end in a way that we can keep going with it, because the brother in that show, Charlie does have his own book, and I understand the setup at the end, but it's still just kind of like, no, baby. Simply no. Off Campus did a really good job of, reading. I skimmed the show, and then I read the book, and while I was reading the book, I recognized the show, if that makes sense. And now I'm gonna go and watch the show like for real this time, and I'm gonna be able to recognize the book, and I'm excited about that. And then honestly, I'm gonna join the crowd and probably binge it again, but I'm gonna binge it again. Okay, I'm going to probably binge it a couple times. But at some point, I'm going to binge it again after I read Allie and Dean's book, because even though it's the 3rd book in the series, it's the 2nd season. And from my understanding, what someone told me is that one of the episodes, there's like 30 minutes dedicated to just Allie and Dean and what happens with them. And so I need to kind of see that and kind of, see where it aligns with the story. But one thing I will tell you, I love Louisa Levy. Like, if anyone wants notes on how to make a good book to screen adaptation, talk to her, call her, network with her, get her number, because she did it right with Off Campus. There was changes that had to be made involving, like, the plot in the book to the plot in the show, and maybe we will see in the future, like, Cass's or Hannah's situation and hatred for Cass. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. From my understanding, they had a small moment with Cass in season 1 of Off Campus, but apparently it's a guy who is on Virgin River, and as someone who watches Virgin River, I know he's a kind of important character on that show. There's no way he can leave that show to be Cass. I don't know. And maybe they'll figure it out. But I know that Virgin River, I'm pretty sure that sucker's not done. Like, I'm pretty sure we have an 8th season coming, which I'm okay with it. But anywho, not going to go on that tangent and how I accidentally became, like, super obsessed with that show. What I am going to talk about is just a good adaptation is Off Campus as far as, like, recently. And if you have any questions, you need any notes, you can talk to my close personal friend, Louisa Levy. Now, with that being said, I know, and just with that being said, and then just kind of the overall thought process of, like, there's just so many of these adaptations, like, I know that book to screen adaptations are absolutely nothing new. I mean, I'm looking at Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, even though we don't support J.K. Rowling, but, like, Harry Potter, Bridgerton, for sure. Bridgerton's one of the bigger ones. However, it feels like there's just suddenly an onslaught of them. Like, I want to say over 100 or something may have been announced in the past year, this year, if not last year. Like, there's just been a lot. There's been a lot. There was like 4 days in a row that I was getting on a social media app and I was seeing a new adaptation. And then the 4th day was Icebreaker, and then I broke. I was like, no, absolutely not. It's gotten to the point, there's so many of them that I literally have gotten to the point where I have 2 questions. I have 2 questions. 1, are these books being adopted in the correct forms as far as deciding TV versus movie? Because there are just some things that are going to be fantastic as a TV show, and there are other things that, like, it would eat up as a movie. Off Campus, great as a TV show. I am having the hardest time, honestly, picturing Before I Let Go as a TV show. I feel like with doing that, you're fully having to change the plot. Like, I can see it as a movie for sure. I can totally envision it as a movie. I just, for some reason, I'm struggling with envisioning it as a TV show. And I believe Kennedy Ryan is going to kind of have her hands in the Before I Let Go adaptation. So I'm excited to see what she does with it. But are we sure that we're doing the correct format? People we meet on vacation would have eaten everybody up as a TV show, because every vacation could have been a new episode. It didn't have to be 45 minutes long or 40 minutes long or whatever. It could have been like 30 minutes and that would have been fine, but it would have made so much sense. I just hit puberty. That's how much sense it would have made. It would have made so much sense as a TV show. And on the opposite end, every year after should have been a movie. And honestly, probably not slated for 5 seasons. I'm still trying to figure out what they're going to accomplish over those 5 seasons. Someone please tell me, because from my understanding, Meet Me at the Lake is another Carly Fortune adaptation, and that's going to Netflix. So what's happening over the course of 5 seasons, Amazon? Please tell me. I just want to know. I mean, to be honest with you, man, I don't know why Caroline just came in my head. I'm so sorry. I was about to turn into a Mine for a second and just, like, rap the entire thing. I don't know why that just happened. Something is going on upstairs that I really need to get figured out. But no, I want to ensure, or I hope that correct decisions are being made in choosing the correct format for these adaptations. If Icebreaker is a show, I'm going to be pissed off. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be real pissed off. Why? Make it a movie. And if you do it a show, do 3. The same way you're doing Off Campus, where each book is a new one. or a new season, do the same for Icebreaker. But then if you do that, do not call it Icebreaker, because from my understanding, Wildfire and Daydream take place like in different worlds. I don't know. I just feel like it should be a movie. It shouldn't be an adaptation at all, to be honest, but I feel like it should be a movie. Now there is another adaptation, and I haven't read it. I'm gonna get it wrong. Is it like Dungeon Crawler or something like that? I'm so wrong. The author is Matt something. Very vague information is being said right now. But it's a book series that's being adapted as a show for Apple TV, and that one makes sense. That one makes a lot of sense. Low key, I think I'm glad my mom died being adapted into a TV, I think it's a TV series for Apple TV. I think that wouldn't even make sense as it's like a dramedy. It's like a drama comedy situation. I could 100% see that. Which, side note, because that is one of my favorite books ever, I am currently listening to the audiobook of it, and yeah, Jeanette McCurdy ate. She did eat that up. It's kind of crazy that she's telling her own story, but like it makes sense that she's telling her own story. It's just, whoo, it's still very emotional. But anyway, first question, are these books being adapted in the correct format? That just makes sense for the story. But number two, where is the originality in Hollywood? Where is it? Please tell me. I think the yearning for originality is why Sinners was just such a big deal, right? And the same in a smaller scale on a streaming services scale, voicemails for Isabel is also kind of being like praised. Leah is the writer and the director of voicemails for Isabel, and it's it's her story. I believe it's like some version of life experiences that she may or may not have had, and maybe not her, but somebody in her life. It's something related to her life, and like cool, but it's an original story that we haven't really seen. And even if it was, there's a moment in the movie where they poke fun about Nick Robinson's character, I believe his name is Wes, being like Tom Hanks and You Got Mail. You've got mail. You got mail? Or You've Got Mail. One of them. So it's like it even nods to the fact like, yeah, it might be similar to that plot and that storyline, but it's actually based off of Leah, something involving Leah's life. And so therefore there's some originality to it. Now Sinners is like the biggest example of recent originality in Hollywood and cinema and TV and all of it. There's not enough. I feel like there just hasn't been enough original works, because when you think about adaptation, yeah, they're modifying it to make it fit like their vision or whatever the case may be, but an adaptation allows for Hollywood or whoever to take someone else's story, whether that story is original or not. It allows for Hollywood to take that story, make honestly a few changes, a few tweaks, and then call it something new. And that's not original. That is not an original work. That is not an original piece of cinema. And cinema is art, so it's not an original piece of art. It's honestly like a remix of a song. And this might sound absolutely insane, but as someone who just like loves reading, and honestly I love movies, I love going to the movies, but I realized honestly that I haven't, because I was trying to figure out why I hadn't gone to the movies in a while, and it's just because there hasn't been anything great to see that's been just like new and different and original. Why is there a Toy Story 5? Please someone tell me why there's a Toy Story 5. Why is there a live action Moana? Why did we decide to cast The Rock and give him a wig? Like, where, where, who, how, why? Like, what is going on? And I realized, like, there's just hasn't been anything amazing really calling my name to go to the movies. Now, am I going to go see Spider-Man? Absolutely. Am I going to go see One Night Only? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I was trying to think of, like, another movie that I could see this summer because I have on my bucket list to go to the movies 3 times. I don't want to see The Odyssey. I know the story. And based off of the, like, I think it was a teaser trailer, or it might have been the actual trailer. One of them, I was sitting there like, the verbiage just does not match with, like, the times. And as someone who went to school and, like, learned about the Odyssey and, like, read it and all of it, I just feel like there should be the way people communicate should be a little bit more historically accurate. Let's just say that. I'm just looking. I love the movies and I love seeing original things. There's just not many. And I love reading. And as a reader, I'm not looking forward to the, I think it's like over 100 books being adapted in the next couple of years. Like I'm not looking forward to it because it feels like it's almost giving everyone an easy, not everyone, that sounds bad, but it's giving a lot of people an easy paycheck because they don't really have to do much with the story. They, like I said, they just get to make a few tweaks and call it something new. And maybe they change the title of the book. Maybe they keep the title the same. Who knows? But I don't know. I need something great, new, exciting, different. And there's a lot of creative brains out there. I just feel like Hollywood isn't giving them the opportunity. And it's quite frustrating. Low key, I feel like it's almost the same in the book industry. There's a lot of great like indie authors and great books out there, and there's a lot of like self-published authors who are fantastic, but the publishing industry is just not giving them the opportunity. So I don't know. Those are my 13 cents that no one asked for, but I had to talk about it because there's just way too many of them being announced, and I need something good, basically. And I feel like if we're relying on book adaptations, that's not the something good that I'm like yearning for. I don't know. I think the industry itself just needs a little bit of a shift and get away from the reboots, sequels, classic remakes, and now we need to get away from the book adaptations. Like there is a fifth category called original works. Let's do that. Let's try. I don't know. I feel like something great might happen. And it's the same way that like they cast the same people and everything. I love Anne Hathaway. This is her year. And honestly, as she should. I love Zendaya. Zendaya can act, and Zendaya is very particular about her projects, so I'm good with that. But like, remember that era where Pedro Pascal was in everything? For what? For what? It was like I was watching him, and he's not a bad actor necessarily, but it just got to a point where it felt like I was watching the same kind of role in different fonts, basically. And I feel like Hollywood does that a lot. When someone blows up, they're like, ooh, people love him or people love her. They're going to pay really good money to see them. And it's like, okay, let's not think about that. Let's think about if this is necessary for the role. If you have to outsource and find someone new to play the part, do it. I think there needs to be a focus more on finding people who fit the roles like as perfectly as possible, because there's tons of people out there who want to be actors and actresses and actors. Actors is a very general term. I don't know why I said actors and actresses. There's plenty of people out there who want to act. I think it's just a matter of honestly not being lazy and going out and finding them, because everyone wants their big break, or not everyone, but anyone who wants to be an actor wants their big break, or just even going to different avenues, go to different countries, do whatever you got to do. Ella Bright is American British and lives in Britain or England, London, one of them. She lives not here. We did everything. I said we. I'm, again, not a part of off campus, like, at all. But effort was made to, like, pick the right Hannah. Like, they tried to really ensure they picked someone who captured Hannah's spirit. And in the books, Allie is blonde, but, like, I genuinely feel like no one could have done Allie justice the way Mika Abdallah is. I'm just going to say it. And I feel like it was really good of them to pick someone who's not white to be Tucker. That felt necessary, because now that I've seen Jalen in that role, I cannot imagine another Tucker. I know people are hating on him for some stupid reason and just not giving him the same amount of love, but he embodies Tucker perfectly. And I think when it's time for his story and his book, he's going to like eat. He's going to eat, and he's going to make y'all eat your words, because he's going to kill it. Okay. Anyway. Also, side note, I just love the little, like, what's the word? What am I looking for? Like, Easter eggs and, like, hints in the first season of Off Campus, especially when it comes to, like, everyone else's books and seasons and stories. I kind of like that. And I hope that Louisa continues that. The Briar university universe situation, BU, whatever it is. It's huge, okay? And I don't know how long we'll have off campus. I don't know how long we'll be a part of the Briar universe. But what I do know is that if we can keep throwing little Easter eggs out there and just having seasons of this show that's really good and has captured a lot of people's hearts and attention, then like let's keep going. Because right now, I think even with Every Year After coming out, Every Year After for some reason went to number one, but Off Campus did not move from number two. Like Off Campus has been up there since its release, and it's been over a month. I don't really have anything to talk about when it comes to currently consuming. I'm reading a book by an indie author now, so maybe I'll have. Actually, I'm not even saying maybe I'll have that to talk about next week. I will be able to talk about it next week because next week is going to be our first week in July, which means the second quarter of the year has wrapped up, which means it's time for my Q2 reading wrap up. So, yeah, we're going to talk about what I've been currently consuming, all the things that I have like finished recently. We'll do all of that jazz next week, which I'm absolutely looking forward to. So, with that being said, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Simple Jamilah podcast. I'll be in your ear next week with a new one, which is like, literally everything I just said. The topic that I just said, I just revealed it all. But if you share the same thoughts or opinions as far as book adaptations go, I would love to hear them because I just feel like we need to give people grace when it comes to book adaptations. Like it's not going to be 100% like the book, but once again, there is a good and a bad way to do it. And I think that we just overall need some originality when it comes to Hollywood deciding that it wants to, I don't know, make another film or TV show or something. Anyway, tangent done. I'm going to go cook me and Clover some dinner, and I will talk to you super, super soon. Bye. Well, I'm not going to cook Clover dinner. Clover is going to eat, and you know what? It doesn't matter.